in Agatu, Buruku, Gwe West, and Makudi local government areas of Benue State.
A minute silence was observed in honor of late Hubert Shaldaz II, the Long Gumai of Shendam in Plateau State, as moved by Representative John Bull Shekarau, also from Plateau State.
A total of 15 bills were considered at first reading. These include a bill for an act to amend the Money Laundering Act 2016 and a bill for an act to amend the National Grazing Routes and Reserve 2016. The House has therefore adjourned till Tuesday, the 23rd of February 2016. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, Nta News.
And to the actualities of budget processing, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the relaxation of the country's visa policy, improvement of infrastructure, and making attractive the various tourist sites will reposition tourism as an income spinner. It was before the House Committee on Culture and Tourism. Let's get more on this from National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba.
The minister who stressed on the need for improvement of infrastructure in the country's airports and training of security officials to be more tourist-friendly, said the focus of this year's budget is to see how they can harness culture and tourism.
The first point in tourism, especially if you are talking about, foreign tourism, international tourism, is the application and obtaining of visas to visit your country. Provide tools, both modern and traditional, for at least 12 states scattered all over the 6 geopolitical zones, so that we can create jobs, we can create a new economy for our people.
Chairman House Committee on Culture and Tourism, Omorige Obeide Ihama, observed some errors in the first column of the budget defense, which he insisted must be corrected.
The key issue we must have behind our mind is that the budget has to work. Nigerians must benefit what they deserve, which is democracy.
The chairman also stated the committee's commitment to collaborate with the ministry to provide workable solutions on how the nation can benefit from tourism. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NT News.
And more on budgeting processes proper in the House of Representatives. Executive Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority, Shola Atere, while explaining the organization's 6.9 billion naira projected budget, said television broadcasting is a capital-intensive venture. National Assembly correspondent Grace Oyenubi reports that this was before the House Committee on Information and National Orientation.
6 of the 21 agencies under the Ministry of Information and Culture defended their budget before the House Committee on Information and National Orientation. Most of them function from internally generated revenue. The Executive Director News NTA was here with his counterparts on engineering and finance and administration. He stated that the proposed total revenue from internally generated sources for 2016 is 5 billion naira.
All you generated in 2015, please remit all, the documents. Send all the documents as regarding 2015, your internally generated revenue.
What we should do on NTA is that we should do complete status inquiry for 3 years.
Mr. Atere saying that NTA has 118 stations and almost 5,000 staff, explained why it should continuously be partially funded by government.
This is a 5-year summary of government-related promotions and live coverages, which we do, gratis, if you like, because we are not paid for them. When you look at the total figure from 2011 to 2015, it's almost 4 billion naira. NTA has a large overhead, and we have to provide equipment, cameras, vehicles, and so on.
Committee member Sani Zoro called for a total overhaul of the authority.
Granting of autonomy to a very large extent, if we want them to be efficient, effective, as well as objective.
Yet on budget defense, House Committee Chairman on Judiciary Aminu Shagari called for adequate funding for the judiciary.
We want to use this medium to urge the powers that be, please consider the plight increase funding to this very important sector. As a major sector in the economy, without funds being reasonably appropriated for the judiciary, the common man will certainly have major issues and problems with respect to acquisition of justice.
In attendance were chief registrars of all courts and agencies of the judiciary. From the National Assembly, Grace Oyenubi, Nta News.
Let's take a look at security matters now. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has described the current phase of the fight against insurgency as the most difficult. He joined other security experts on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria to give an update on the current situation in the northeast. Here is Amina Nojem with the details.
Having been downgraded and dispersed, says the minister, Boko Haram's tactics of attacking soft spots calls for fresh strategies. Lai Mohammed stressed that while there was significant progress, there is need for collaboration in intensified intelligence gathering between the civil population and the military, bearing in mind the human rights of citizens.
Now, what we have today in Nigeria is what will happen normally when we are in this phase of insurgency, where the insurgency has been decimated. People must understand that when an insurgency is defeated, negotiated, or succeeds, cessation of terrorist attacks does not come immediately. It takes time.
Major General Rogers Ibe Nicholas, Chief of Civil Military Affairs, Nigerian Army, was of the view that value has been added in the counter-insurgency operations in the northeast.
We are also making effort to deploy some mine-clearing equipment in the front line. That is on the way, and a lot of personnel have been trained on issues of mine clearing and mine detection. That is the level of value for now. The others are reserve military information.
Brigadier General John Temlong, an expert on security, was however cautiously optimistic, insisting that checking on past and ongoing radicalization of the populace should be a priority.
These people have been radicalized. They have gotten an ideology. You defeat an idea with an idea. The major problem that we do have, and which I think to a large extent too, is that Nigeria is yet to agree and define a national narrative for Boko Haram.
While some of the guests saw the need for those displaced to return to their normal lives, others were of the view that IDPs would require private sector participation in boosting economic activities in affected areas. Amina Nujaim, NTA News.
Yet on the northeast situation, following the relative peace enjoyed in Maiduguri, the Borno State government reopened public schools since last November, with boarding schools remaining closed as they provided shelter to about 1 million persons displaced by insurgency. To ensure that academic activities pick up in the schools, the government has set in motion a machinery for relocating them to other suitable locations. Yagum Subukar reports on the process.
There are over 2 million IDPs in Borno State currently taking refuge at various camps across the state. Majority of these people are being sheltered in public schools, which distracted normal academic activities with students forced to stay at home. But this is changing with the relocation of the first batch of 600 IDPs from Bama local government, who will now be reunited with their families at Dalori camp. Before their relocation, the internally displaced persons went through screening exercise conducted by the officials of the national and state management agencies, as well as security agents, to authenticate their identity. Already, some international donors are partnering with the Nigerian government towards the provision of some amenities, such as water and accommodation, for the comfort of the IDPs.
The donor agency's contribution is very much appreciated, but it is not to say that without the donor agency's contribution we cannot do the relocation. This exercise takes care of the basic needs of the IDPs.
Our intention is to create, for instance, in Mapa, a camp so that those living here in Maiduguri will be returned back.
About 800 shelters provided is to accommodate IDPs in the first phase of the exercise at Dalori camp, while 530 other shelters are ready for occupation at the Bakassi camp.
It is the hope of all that if these IDPs are relocated from the various schools they occupy, normal school activities will commence in earnest in the state. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
And in line with the policy direction of the present administration of providing succor to victims of insurgency, the National Refugees Commission has delivered relief materials to internally displaced persons returning to the border town of Ngala in Borno State. Federal Commissioner Hadiza Kangiwa, while handing over the materials to Ngala Local Government Council Chairman, said the agency will remain focused in its determination to give the IDPs a sense of belonging. Hamman Jabani has the details.
The Ngala International Border Secondary School provides shelter to more than 6,000 IDPs who returned from neighboring Cameroon Republic after the recapture of the town by Nigerian troops. The number keeps increasing, a situation which prompted the local council chairman Abdurrahman Abdulkarim appeal to donor agencies to come to the aid of the returnees. It is in this light that the National Refugee Commission, at a symbolic presentation in Maiduguri, donated foodstuffs, mobile clinic, building materials, water pump and stationaries for primary schools to the Ngala local government chairman for onward delivery to the displaced persons.
Just the beginning, and it's also symbolic, to show the way, to urge national and international partners, to do the same. They don't have to go there physically, but they can work with our partners. The military are awesome. Borno State government is very helpful. We have the local government authorities, we have vigilante, so it's like a team effort, so that we send relief to these people that are in dire need.
At the camp, the chairman Ngala Local Government Council, Abdurrahman Abdulkarim, while presenting the relief materials to the beneficiaries, expressed appreciation to the government for its prompt response to the needs of the IDPs. He assured that the materials will be judiciously distributed and appealed to donor agencies to complement government's effort in cushioning the hardship of the IDPs. In Maiduguri, Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Furthermore, the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAWOWA, has built a health facility and a block of classrooms for internally displaced persons living at the Durumi camp, Abuja. The national president of the association, Kulsum Tukur Buratai, formally presented the facilities in Abuja. Stephanie Uja Nebifi covered the event and now reports.
Army officers' wives whose spouses are fighting hard to end insurgency in the northern part of the country embarked on the project to cushion the effects of the hardship they are going through as a result of their displacement, knowing fully well that women and children are usually at the receiving end whenever any crisis occurs, made the Nigerian Army Officers' Wife Association NAWOWA to build the medical post and a block of classrooms for the internally displaced persons living in Durumi. While presenting the facilities to the displaced persons, the national president of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAWOWA, Mrs. Kulsum Tukur Buratai, said the gesture is to put smiles on the faces of the displaced persons as well as restore hope and confidence in their lives.
Most people, when we talk about IDPs, the first thing that will come to their minds is always food items. This is not enough. How about the health sector?
From there, the NAWOWA members proceeded to the Karu Children's Home, where they donated relief materials including food items, toiletries and clothing. Beneficiaries of the NAWOWA benevolence said the action has demonstrated the love of motherhood.
At any hour of the day or night, one can be sure of getting medication.
The dispensary that she opened for us
it will be helpful for us.
The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association is a non-profit, non-governmental organization made up of 7 officers' wives of the Nigerian Army who have over the years impacted positively on the lives of the barracks communities and its environs through provision of educational, healthcare and skill acquisition programs. In Abuja, Stephanie Oja Nebifi, Nta News.
Wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has pledged continued support to issues of free health care, delivery, care for the internally displaced persons and the less privileged in the society. Mrs. Buhari made the pledge when she received a delegation that paid her a surprise visit on her birthday. Let's get more on this from Oyinaya Kalu Oka.
Happy birthday. It was indeed a surprise visit, as the president's wife, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, had no plan to mark the day but to continue to pray and support the president in his effort of repositioning the country. Wives of some state governors and that of heads of security agencies and family members wish the president's wife well and urge Nigerians to support her pet project on healthcare delivery service.
She is behind the scene, working, praying, and supporting him. And we pray that all the women of Nigeria will key in.
She's already extremely passionate about women and children, and she's doing so much.
On this special day, we want to use this to send our good thoughts to families who have lost their lives in unfortunate incidents. We wish them well.
I just want to encourage her to continue to do more. She had these people at heart. She is always thinking about them. Even today, her special day, she is not being carried away by the activities from there, the conventional birthday celebrations.
Committed towards touching the lives of the less privileged in the society, even though wife of the president, Hajia Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, did not mark her birthday, she took her time to visit the less privileged at Karo Children's Home in Abuja. The visit to the Karo Children's Home with 42 children, the youngest a year-old baby, to share the joy of the day, former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Pauline Talent, presented food items on behalf of the president's wife.
I wish her happy birthday, long life and prosperity.
Wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, in her drive towards uplifting the lives of the less privileged, had visited several IDPs and orphanages across the country. From the presidential villa in Abuja, Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
Do stay with us here on News Extra. Up ahead, how the Jeba hydropower plant adds to the national grid. This and more coming up in a few moments from now. Do join us again.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
We must kill corruption before corruption will kill us.
If your leader is a kind of person that you look at him and say, if it is so and so, I'm okay. You can go to sleep and close your 2 eyes and sleep. Then you know you are making progress. Now you have a leader who will not condone corruption at all. He has 0 tolerance of corruption. That alone makes some kind of fear for every Nigerian now.
The most critical index that we should look at
is attitudinal change, moral education, respect for law and order. These two have disappeared from Nigeria. Now, this is what we must emphasize in the new Nigeria that we must leave behind.
Yes, this is the clarion call in the vanguard for a new Nigeria.
Most people avoid the tough jobs. We're different. We're not here to complain that things are broken. We're here to fix them. You need someone that will take the tough decisions and stand by their word. To do that, you need the best of the best. Physically, mentally. So it doesn't matter if it's creating opportunities or supporting economies. We know it's a tough job. But hey, somebody's got to do it. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Nigeria will hail. For 2017, Nigeria will join body with every other country for this world to enter that matter what they call digital broadcasting. This digital broadcasting is better part those time when we say we go outside go the Tonton TV and not be that one. You go sit down for your comfort now. You go watch better. The TV go clear way. The people with this side go clear way. The sound man go come out well. The channel say go increase the local TV waiting for the Obodo Nigeria side go come out face where we come clear well. My people. Nigeria, they enter digital.
Nigeria's going digital. Nigeria's going digital.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. Dettol is the #1 selling antiseptic liquid, proven to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Every day, more and more people are waking up to a more advanced toothpaste. A toothpaste that's already improving the oral health of millions of Nigerians. A toothpaste that's committed to making Nigeria's teeth healthier and stronger. That toothpaste is Oral-B Pro Health. Unlike regular toothpaste, its advanced fluoride technology gives you better protection against bacteria and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. So come on, join us today. Oral-B Pro Health for healthier, stronger teeth in 1 week.
Diocese of Abuja, Church of Nigeria.
Anglican Communion invites you to 2016. The Way of the Cross program. Theme:
The song shall set you free. Date:
Monday 22nd to Sunday 28 February 2016.
A week of transformation, exposition, and ministration.
At the Cathedral Church of the Advent, Life Camp Gwarimpa, Abuja. At 5 p.m. daily.
Ministry:
The Right Reverend Praise Omole Ekun.
The Right Reverend Dr. Michael Fakbe.
The Most Reverend Dr. George Lashe-Bikon.
The Right Reverend Dr. Owen Nwonkolo. The Most Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Edbunu.
Mrs. Gloria Kwashi. The Most Reverend Dr. Ikechi Wonsu.
Mrs. Olunyomo Margaret.
Venerable Dr. Ajefo Bijo.
Very Reverend Dr. Adeniji Isaac. Very Reverend Mweze Samuel. There will be counseling and special prayers
by anointed servants of God on daily basis. Host: the Most Reverend Nicholas D. Oko, Primate, Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion.
Hello again, and thank you for being there. To attain the desired rapid expansion in the power sector, private firms must increase their investment in the nation's infrastructural development. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, said this while unveiling one overhauled generating unit of the Jeba hydropower plant in Niger State. Works correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the minister also inspected other projects in the area.
The overhaul unit is one out of the 6 identical generating components of the Jeba hydropower plant that has been operating for over 30 years without maintenance.
Equipment are aged, they need to be replaced. It is happening at a time when our resources have diminished. But I am sure that if our resolve remains as it is, there will be no challenge that we cannot overcome.
With 3.5 and 1.7 billion naira from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and the Mainstream Energy Solutions, the concessionaire of the Kenji and Jeba hydropower plant, the contract sum of 5.2 billion naira was made available.
This is the first overhaul carried out in the plant. That means that the other 5 units are all due, in fact overdue for overhaul.
Guests at the event noted that the 9-month project generated employment and improved power supply. The Jeba hydropower plant was officially unveiled in 1985 by the then head of state, Muhammadu Buhari. Similarly, the minister also inspected the Kenji hydropower plant, where he urged managers of the plant to be committed and proactive in their duties.
And what we must not do is to continue to manage. We have always carried on as a people managing and therefore lowering standards.
This 700 megawatts hydropower project that is still under construction here in Niger State was among power installations inspected from Zungeru, Niger State. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on the FCT has promised to intervene in the settlement process of some FCT residents to enable contractors complete some ongoing projects in the metropolis. Chairman of the committee, Dino Melaye, said this during an oversight visit to some construction companies handling some projects in Guzape Lot 1 and 2 in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim has the details.
A contract of over 11 billion naira and over 102 million euros was awarded to Dantata and Sawoye Construction Company in 2003 to provide road network and other facilities in Gusape Lot 1 area of Abuja. Having received over 8 billion naira and over 85 million euros, officials of the company said the inability of relevant authorities to resettle the residents of the area is a major challenge in completing the projects.
The village has made it a bit difficult to connect some of the infrastructures immediately, so some bypasses have to be made for now, pending when the village is removed.
The committee requested detailed information on the project design, variations and cost implications to enable it assess the level of work done with the total amount received so far.
Most of the projects in Abuja have one common problem. That is the resettlement of indigents within the project areas. And this is because this was not properly handled by the FCDA. But the Senate, by the grace of God, now will intervene and make sure that proper resettlement is done so that impediments to construction work will be completely eradicated.
The members of the committee were also impressed at the level of work done at Gusape District Lot 2 area of Abuja by the contractor handling the projects.
The visit is in line with the resolve by the Senate Committee on FCT to ensure that the regional master plan of the Federal Capital Territory is implemented by contractors handling major projects in the area, as well as to ensure the cooperation of indigenes and residents of the suburb areas of the FCT. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Muhammad Musa Bello, has appealed to the Defense Headquarters, Abuja, to consider reopening the barricaded roads around its headquarters in Garki area of Abuja to ease traffic flow. He spoke with the Chief of Naval Staff. Nta Network has the details.
It will be recalled that the roads around military formations in Abuja were barricaded in the heat of insurgent attacks in the country a few years back. The Defense Headquarters had last year reopened a lane of the road around its headquarters in Area 7, Garki. Acknowledging this, the FCT minister, however, appealed for the reopening of the entire roads to ease traffic congestion usually experienced by commuters in the area.
If you assess and you realize that really the security situation has improved substantially, the barricades that have been made on that particular road, making it only one lane, could be removed so that you fortify your entrances.
The Chief of Naval Staff said the Defense Headquarters will look into the request.
The intent of all the security emplacement is not to inconvenience Nigeria, but just to be on the safer side. The Chief of Defense Staff, who is responsible for coordinating the security around, I'll take up the matter with him, and then I'm sure he will give favorable consideration to this request.
In Abuja, Nta Network, Nta News.
Another report from the Federal Capital City is on parking space, as car owners and motorists almost literally bump into each other to get available space for their vehicles. 4 decades down the line, and with Abuja already exceeding its anticipated population density, some recent projections indicate that indiscriminate parking would most likely increase unless proper arrangements are put in place. Namdi Odipo tells us more.
Nigeria's capital maintains its alluring appeal, but the wear and tear of decades of modern life is already putting it under considerable strain. One of the most glaring is the tussle among car owners for parking space.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to get parking space in areas across the city with high traffic movements, particularly during the weekdays. And so what you see in parts of the city is an unorganized parking arrangement where motorists take advantage of just about any available space to fit in their cars.
Incidentally, there is hardly any baseline data that highlights the ratio of vehicles against Abuja's population vis-a-vis the number of available parking space within the city. It is, however, common to find cars parked comfortably at odd spots, clearly reflecting the negative trend of indiscriminate parking in the city.
Around the city centers, people scarf for space to park.
You will not see anywhere to park.
It's really a problem here in Abuja.
If you check around now, you see cars are parked where it's not supposed to be.
The prevailing challenge questions why the authorities jettisoned the multi-level parking concept originally captured in the Abuja Master Plan. The FCT administration had in 2006 given concessions to 6 companies to commence work on the project. But 10 years after, there appears to be nothing on ground.
This project was not actually given out by the Transport Secretariat. It was given out by Abuja Investment Company. Along the line, something happened. They could not continue with the contractors they have engaged.
You know, the concept of having just a multi-story car parking is not viable in our environment. What we have done over the period is to try and see whether we can commercialize, the concept. That is to introduce some, commercial space at the higher floors of the building.
In the interim, motorists in Abuja are left to their own devices, while car owners tussle to park within the limited designated lines along the streets. In Abuja, Namdi Odipo, Nta News.
Moving on to the education sector now. In the new world of information technology, the federal government's desire to make students ICT compliant is not in doubt, but the poor conditions of the newly constructed e-libraries in the North Central Zone are issues and obstacles that the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, is trying to address. Franca Uzoma Olwa tells us how.
The construction of e-library facility in Government College, Kefi, is a 2014 federal government intervention project through UBEC, which appears to be running behind schedule.
The contractors are doing very well because they are following the design. But unfortunately, the slow nature of the job is not encouraging at all.
Moreover, the essence of providing digital education resources to students of Government Girls College, Bokos in Plateau State may not be achieved if the cracked walls and poor foundation of the e-library structure are not properly addressed.
An e-library which is shabbily done and it is not in accordance with our specifications. I will not take it lightly with our resident engineers, because they have everything. We release money to them.
However, the provision of science laboratory equipment and the renovation of Assembly Hall of the Government Science School, Kuru, has improved the academic status of the 75-year-old college.
But just to thank UBEC for this wonderful intervention to our dear state.
In fact, when we look around, our structures, they are good, but we still need more because there are other things that we need.
And for the people of Ugade, a rural community in Nasarawa State, it was a joyful moment to celebrate federal government's presence in the area.
Evenu Ugade community in Nasarawa Local Government Council is a mining community since the 1960s, but today it is a beneficiary of the federal government's gesture of the construction of Junior Girls Model Secondary School to improve girl child education.
The community is also constructing a police post to provide security for the school. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
And for a bit on health, the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, says for the United Nations vision of achieving zero hunger, good health, sanitation, affordable and clean energy, as well as infrastructural development by 2030, there must be accessible health care services for all. He was defending the ministry's 2016 budget proposal before the House Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye has the details.
On the 2015 budget performance on Millennium Development Goals, the minister said about 3.2 billion naira was appropriated, of which 50% was released. These funds were expended on programs for the National Primary Healthcare Development and Main Ministry. On the 2016 Sustainable Development Goals projects, Professor Adewale defended a 4.8 billion naira proposal.
With respect to the SDG, we're still focusing on the National Health Insurance Scheme, we're focusing on National Primary Care Development, we're focusing on the totality of the SDG 3, which has to do with universal coverage.
Budgetary allocation of the Ministry of Health should always be that big to help the teeming population.
17 goals, and we have 169 targets, which is stipulated to span through 2030.
The committee chairman was particularly impressed with the presentation of the Minister of Health and said that if passed, the budget will go some way to successfully implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. The 17 SDGs include no poverty, quality education, gender equality, climate action, equity and justice. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Long queues of vehicles have reappeared in most petrol stations within Lagos. Awal Yusuf Jibo, who went round the metropolis, reports that the cause is not yet known.
Most Lagosians woke up today to witness another round of long queues building up in most filling stations. In some of the filling stations visited, motorists say that the queues became visible since yesterday.
We've been staying for queue for like 2 hours, 1.5 hours. Now again today, started again.
I'll go Ikoyi side and not see foil, all in our queue. I'll go the Lekki side, na queue.
I don't tire now. I won't go queue now. Whether I go see buy or whether I don't go see buy, I don't know.
I found there is a bit of queue and I joined. I don't know what exactly is going on.
Areas you've been going around, have you been seeing fuel? Is there fuel?
No, there's no fuel.
This is my second time coming out here to get fuel. I was here around 8:30 in the morning, and everywhere was full of vehicles on the way, waiting to get fuel.
I was asking what's the problem. but nobody could be able to tell the reason why there's any scarcity.
Efforts to speak with some of the fuel attendants on the cause of the problem were futile, as they all refused to speak with us. Meanwhile, motorists have called on the government to quickly wade into the problem to avert the hardships that may result due to the queues.
Please, make they find something to do with it. I beg.
The re-emergence of queues in filling stations across Lagos is becoming a major source of worry to Lagosians. Hopefully, this problem can be contained soon. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, Nta News.
Still staying in Lagos, residents are said to be deeply shaken over the sudden hike in the price of sachet water. Who did that and why? Let's get the answers from Rotimi Oluwagbemi.
Pure water business is said to be one of the easiest way to earn a living among Nigerians. Most of the sellers express their displeasure at the increase in the price of the product, which has greatly reduced their patronage.
When my customer don't do it, they complain, and the money too high, too much. Before it's 600 naira, but now it's 1,000.
One bag pure water, then they sell on 70 naira, 80 naira. But now, pure water don't cost. Then they give us 100 naira, 120.
NTA News spoke with some pure water manufacturers who attributed the increase to the high cost of production material.
The polythene materials that is being used mostly is being imported. And when you look at the cost of exchange rate now, dollar against naira, you will find out that even the price we have fixed for it now is just at the bottom rate price.
Diesel is now being sold for 125 naira per litre, and we use diesel to run our gen, and we have to spend more money.
In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Still to come on the News Extra, the benefits of alternative resolution of disputes. We'll be right back.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerian Shippers Council and TEL present Maritime Summit 2016. Theme, exploring opportunities in Nigeria's maritime industry. Chief host, Right Honorable Rotimi Chibike Amechi, Honorable Minister of Transportation. Chairman of the occasion, Mr. Frank Nweke Jr., former Minister of Information and former DG NESG. Lead speaker, Chief Adebayo Saromi, MFR, former Managing Director, Nigeria Ports Authority, NPA. Date, Monday 22nd to Tuesday 23rd of February 2016. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, Federal Palace Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos. Target audience, Federal Ministry of Transport, Federal Ministry of Finance, NPA, NEMASA, NRC, NIWA, MAN, CBN, Customs and Terminal Operators, among others. Signed, Nigerian Shippers Council and TEL.
You can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait. She said love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. No, I can't bear to live my life alone. I grow impatient for a love to come my own. But when I feel that I can't go on, these precious words keeps me hanging on. You can't hurry love, no, you
We're back with more names and personalized messages on our bottles and cans. So now you can share a Coke and a feeling with family and friends.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS calls on all corporate organizations operating in Nigeria to register for the purpose of payment of taxes and obtain a tax identification number TIN. All registered companies must obtain a tax identification number immediately from the nearest FIRS office. You can also collect and return tax registration forms from the Federal Inland Revenue Service Engagement and Enlightenment Tax Teams, FEET, on compliance checks exercise in your area. A company which is yet to commence business after at least 6 months of incorporation must pay a pre-operational levy of 20,000 naira in the first year and 25,000 naira for subsequent years to obtain its tax clearance certificate TCC. Note that filing and payment of VAT and withholding tax returns must be done on or before the 21st day of every month. Register for VAT. File all tax returns as and at when due. Be a responsible corporate citizen of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
The Board and Management of Erisco Foods Limited wish to announce the commissioning of the new technology processing from Nigerian fresh tomato to tomato paste, first of its kind in Africa, by Her Excellency Haja Aisha Buhari, wife of the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Date, Thursday, 18th of February 2016. Venue, Erisco Industrial Complex, Plot 2, Oyeleke Street, Oregon, Alausa Ikeja, Lagos. Time, 11 a.m. Special guest of honor, Dr. Bukola Saraki, CON, Right Honorable Yakubu Dugara, Governor Akiumi Ambode, Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, CFR, Engineer Babashir David Lawal, Professor Isaac Adewale Folorunshaw, Royal Fathers of the Day, His Eminence Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar IV, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Royal Highness Obariwa Babatunde Akiolu, Aremu Akiolu I, Oba of Lagos. This event is strictly by invitation. Announcer, Mrs. Umachuku Umeofia, Chairperson, Organizing Committee. Buy your own products. Buy made in Nigeria.
Auntie.
Hello, my dear. I see you went shopping with your mom, right? And what did you buy?
Power oil. It has 0 cholesterol and 0 trans fats. And contains vitamin A and natural vitamin E. It's a healthy oil for a healthy family.
I'll buy power oil next time I go shopping, huh?
Power oil, healthy for you.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Why are you filming, Mommy?
To help people stop getting sick. People think it's the ever-changing weather during Harmattan that makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
Welcome back. You're watching News Extra on the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Federal government challenge to evolve policies that will promote economic growth and encourage investors as experts decry significant drop in both foreign and domestic investment in Nigeria. Let's join Amechi Pius on our business news segment for the details.
Hello, and this is Business News. Thanks for joining us. There's an urgent need for government to come up with economic policies that will guarantee sustainable growth and encourage domestic and foreign investment in Nigeria. Some economic experts emphasize this in view of the sharp drop in both foreign direct and domestic investment into the country. Many attribute the situation to what they described as uncertainty around Nigeria's monetary policy.
the drop has been dramatic, and it's also reflecting in job losses that are happening. Some of these factories are even closing down because you have the huge issue of uncertainty with regard to raw materials. You also have issues with the market.
Sectors like ICT, real estate, and oil and gas, which witnessed inflow of huge funding, they pointed out, have started experiencing significant slowdown on the volume of investment. The challenge the nation is contending with today, economists agreed, is the current exchange rate of the naira to the dollar.
There's no investor that wants to bring money into an economy where the exchange rate at which your money will be converted is far below what the market is doing. And automatically you take a 50%, 60% loss at the point to bring that funds. And that has kept away investors to stand on the fence. We need to address some of those issues and then allow investors to come into the country.
Government, they added, must build systems and regulatory framework to check leakages and corruption. They also suggested strict enforcement of sanctions to boost investors' confidence in the Nigerian business environment.
It's an economic emergency that we are in. There's very little we can do about oil prices, but there's a lot we can do about our domestic policies, the way we respond to the challenges of the moment. So we need to rejig the policies so that we can restore confidence and we can encourage investors to do more.
That's business news. Thanks for watching.
MTN has effected the payment of the sum of 1,850,000 naira to one Emeje Chukwuma Fidelis, being the balance of his 2 million naira winning in the Ultimate Wonder promo held in 2012. This is in compliance with the order of the Consumer Protection Council directing the telecommunication company to pay the complainant. A statement from the council says that Omeje Chukwuma confirmed his receipt of a check for the amount on Monday. The CPC's Director General described the prompt compliance by MTN as a commendable gesture, which also underscores the supremacy of the consumer in the marketplace, urging businesses to exhibit best practices that will engender value for money for consumers. With the federal government's quest for development in the Niger Delta region, members of a trade delegation from the United Kingdom have expressed interest to partner the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs on vocational training and technological services. Isaac Nkuma brings us the details.
The trade delegation, comprising Nigerians and other nationals living in the United Kingdom, have different business and investment interests cutting across consultancy services, vocational training, and information communication technology, which they say, if explored, will bring about the desired infrastructural, economic, and human capital development in the Niger Delta.
We will be very happy to listen to you, to work together, and to see how individually we will explore those potentials, those areas, those key areas that are needed. I could say there's quite a lot of emphasis on development, on youth development and employment.
The idea of large-scale fish farming with modern techniques was one interesting aspect of the discussion.
In the Niger Delta region, fish farming has been a priority. However, we won't say the commercial scale of its practice is meaningful at all or is impactful.
The minister assured the delegation that efforts are being made to address issues of duplication of functions in rebuilding the region as a way to fight corruption in projects execution, stressing that the ministry is committed to delivering the dividends of democracy to the people of the region with the completion of its skills acquisition centers in the nearest future. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
Experts on legal matters are calling for the promotion of alternative dispute resolution mechanism to reduce the number of litigations and awaiting trials in the court system. Talatu Ezurike reports that they were speaking on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live.
Conflicts, frictions, misunderstandings, and disputes are bound to occur in a man's daily life activity. And when it does happen, many often seek court redress that are not without challenges that includes a long wait for justice and prison congestion. Analysts believe that alternative dispute resolution ADR, an old practice, is the panacea to dispensation of justice.
From our experience, know that these other doors of mediation, arbitration, conciliation, negotiation are faster, are cheaper, generally. Most of the time, they try to restore relationships better.
When it came on board, most people perceived it as a replacement, an attempt to supplant litigation, an attempt to say litigation and everything to do with it is bad, throw it away. Appropriate dispute resolution is a better way to go. You are looking at solutions that are suited to the needs of the parties.
The wheel of justice is so slow in Nigeria, and bringing in arbitration again, you begin to ask yourself, to what extent do Nigerians actually respect the arbitrator when it comes to his right? And to what extent do Nigerians actually accept the results of that litigation?
But could Nigeria also borrow lessons from Rwanda's success story of promoting the original traditional system over the conventional Western laws, especially after the country's genocide?
Colonial time or till now, we always had customary arbitration in Nigeria. But you see, because the nature of custom is binding on the people from that locality. And so, if you're not from that locality, they will not bind you.
Our judiciary gives us judgments that are fine coming from any court. But our judiciary lack the administration to sustain it. To get something better, we must encourage the legislature to make the judiciary as much as independent to be able to administer justice.
Experts strongly believe the sincerity of purpose and approaching disputes in the right manner will guarantee a healthy society for growth. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
Now let's turn our attention to some political news now. The All Progressive Congress has been described as the alternate platform needed to effect the necessary change in Nigeria. Former Senate leader and senior advocate of Nigeria, Senator Victor Ndoma Egba, said this shortly after being admitted into the governing party at a grand reception in Calabar. Umo Basi Edet has a report.
Senator Victor Ndoma Egba lamented the one-party system, which hitherto was the situation in Cross River State. He noted that with the wind of change currently blowing across the state, Cross Riverians stand a better chance of benefiting from the change mantra.
I feel very grateful to the national leadership of the APC for giving us this honor in Cross River. The national chairman is coming down in person. That means that they attach a lot of significance to the new members coming into APC. And we are going into APC to help strengthen the party, to give the good people of Cross River State a choice, because democracy is all about choices. They must have alternatives. I was completely shut out of the PDP for almost 3 years. So it is not correct that I'm moving into the APC from the PDP. The PDP had already shut me out for years. So I'm moving to the APC from my house. So I'm not a decampee. So it's not correct to say I decamped, because the PDP had already closed its doors against me.
Receiving the former Senate leader and over 1,000 newly registered members into the All Progressives Congress, the national chairman, Chief John Odige Oyegun, said it was a positive sign for the President Buhari-led administration. Chief Odige Oyegun said the APC is better positioned to take over the mantle of leadership in the state.
People of caliber, people of status, people with recognition nationwide joining us today. And that speaks volumes. And when you stretch it a little bit further, these are people who know that the APC is not a Ghana must go party, either in dollars or in naira.
The event featured the symbolic handing over of the broom to the new entrant. In Calabar, Umo Basidet, NTA News.
From Lokoja comes a report that the crisis rocking the Kogi State House of Assembly has further been deepened when some members announced the removal of the Speaker, Momo Jimo Lawal. Solomon Ayedehin reports that Momo Jimo Lawal says he is still in charge of the gavel.
The present crisis rocking the Kogi State House of Assembly started in December last year, when 17 out of 25 members of the Assembly impeached the Speaker, Momo Jimo Lawal, and named the member representing the Ogorimagongo constituency, Godwin Osuyi Ojo, as the new Speaker. That crisis was later resolved, and the House reverted to status quo with Momo Jimo Lawal as Speaker. Another controversy set in when some members, after a closed-door session in the Assembly chamber, announced the removal of the Speaker, Momo Jimo Lawal, and named Alpha Imam Ahmed of Lokoja 1 constituency as the new Speaker.
The quorum of 20 of an assembly like ours, Kogi State, is 7. We had the quorum to sit, and we have been able to sit, and we have taken relevant resolution that will move Kogi State forward. The resolution includes the removal of the Speaker of Kogi State House of Assembly.
The embattled Momo Jimo Lawal says he remains the Speaker and declared the pronouncement by the other faction null and void.
We are 20 in Assembly. How can 15 members again sign the purported impeachment? That was illegal. It was fake.
With the new development, the last is yet to be heard about the Kogi State House of Assembly crisis. Solomon Ayedehin, NTA News.
On the other side, former Governor of Borno State, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, has emerged the new national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, at its 68th National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja. Edino Justice tells us more.
Senator Ali Modu Sharif, as the PDP national chairman, was after a keen contest, first from 29 candidates and finally to 2 candidates. Journalists had to wait for over 6 hours before the PDP spokesperson, Olisa Metu, finally announced the position of the next meeting. There, Ali Modu Sharif was administered the oath of office.
I, Senator Dr. Ali Modu Sharif, I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the People's Democratic Party and the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
In his acceptance address, the new PDP national chairman appealed to members to join hands with him to build and lead the party to victory.
I want to assure everybody that the choice you make today, nobody in this world will regret Inshallah. We will win Inshallah come 2019. All we needed to do is to put our head together and build this party to a success. And we shall do it.
Edina Justice, NTA News.
Do stay with us here on News Extra. We have lots more after the break. Join us again.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Why are you filming, Mommy? To help people stop getting sick. People think it's the ever-changing weather during Harmattan that makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including flu.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Are you aware that the death percentage attributed to Lassa fever cases is currently put at 43.2%, a figure considered very high? Lassa fever, an acute viral illness characterized by high fever, muscle aches, mouth ulcers, and bleeding in the skin, is harbored by rats and spread to humans via the urine and droppings of rats. To prevent Lassa fever, avoid any exposure with rodents, rats, as well as food and objects contaminated with rat secretions and excretions. Report all suspected cases of Lassa fever immediately to the nearest healthcare institution. Help prevent Lassa fever. This message is from the federal government of Nigeria.
Nigeria will yellow. For 2017, Nigeria will join body with every other country for this world to enter that battle what they call digital broadcasting. This digital broadcasting is better pass those time when we say we go outside go the Tonton TV and not be that one. You go sit down for your comfort now. You go watch better. The TV go clear way. The people with this side go clear way. The sound man go come out well. If channel say go increase the local TV waiting for the Obodo Nigeria side go come out face where come clear well. My people. Nigeria, they enter digital.
Nigeria's going digital.
Always live together as brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien, kidnapping is criminal, cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Would you like some water? It's cold, especially for you.
Which era are you living in? We have a fridge.
When everything else in your house is from the present, then why are your toilet cleaning methods from the past? Harpic, all-in-one for you. Compared to other toilet cleaners, Harpic removes top stains, kills all germs, and removes bad odors. For a shining clean and fresh toilet.
Wow.
You should also take the Harpic
all-in-one challenge.
You're watching News Extra on the Nigerian Television Authority. Thank you for being there. Towards reducing increased rate of crashes on Nigeria's highways, the Federal Road Safety Corps is meeting the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria to support safety policies and installation of speed limit devices. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi said the Corps is committed to its mission on the policy. Saliu Abdullahi has the details.
According to the FRSC, statistics of road fatalities is oftentimes linked to speeding. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi said the installation of speed limit device in all vehicles will help stem the trend. He said, as the date for the enforcement draws near, the Corps is stepping up advocacy and partnership.
We've seen that before the presidential directive, women was already ahead in the implementation. It's one of the key issues towards that loading, safe-to-load program of women. And with this, we want them to upload the data of all what they've done before and then continuously at the verification, including the licensing, the vehicle registration of all these vehicles, so that when the enforcement starts with effect from 1st of April, it will be much easier.
In his response, Executive Secretary of the Association, Femi Olaore, expressed readiness of the association to join hands with FRSC in creating safer roads environment in Nigeria and commended speed limiting device initiative. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
We have more messages. We'll be right back.
3 kinds of moms. The paranoid mom.
It's hot and it's dirty.
The cautious mom.
And the Dettol Mom. Only a Dettol Mom knows that ordinary soaps aren't enough. She only trusts Dettol to protect her family from up to 100 illness-causing germs, which is why you can worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol Mom. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Introducing the new Dettol 55-gram soap with the same germ protection and quality at a more affordable price. Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
So, Afana, don't you do so? Na promo. You step on become millionaire.
You never hear say NAFDAC don't bring wetin they call mobile authentication service. We go help us know whether medicine na fake or not before we pay. Now, come see. As I scratch this thing wey be like recharge card so, come send the PIN to 38353 free of charge. I will call receive text message to confirm. Okay, original.
Troy, just like that, we confirm whether medicine na fake or not instant.
Now when you say don't wise up, make you help NAFDAC spread the story.
Na the way that. Madam, come and take your money.
Now, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, they bring on this message.
Welcome back. The federal government has received with profound sadness the news of the passing away of the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Boutros Ghali, and offers condolences to the government and people of Egypt, the African continent generally, and the United Nations and his family. This comes in a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which says Mr. Ghali will be remembered for his outstanding performance as the first African to serve as United Nations Secretary General. It noted that Mr. Ghali's tenure espoused an agenda for peace, which set the stage for post-conflict peace building as a framework for strengthening peace in post-conflict countries. It stated further that the former United Nations scribe was a leading advocate for ending apartheid and colonialism in Africa, particularly during his time as the Minister of State for African Affairs in the Egyptian Foreign Ministry. World Health Organization supports trials of genetically modified mosquitoes that could be used to fight Zika virus, and explosion kills at least 28 people in Ankara, the Turkish capital. Let's join Ronke Kwalawale for more on Global Tidbits.
Ahead of Thursday's election in Uganda, an extra 5,500 police officers have been deployed by the police chief to protect voters from intimidation in the tightly contested election. In Senegal, President Macky Sall says he will remain in office till the end of 2019 after the court refused his request to reduce his term by 2 years to 5. Mr. Sall had promised during the last election campaign to reduce the president's term in office. And still on Africa, UNICEF says the devastating drought has caused severe hunger to nearly 1 million people in East and Southern Africa. And away from the continent now, Taiwan says satellite images have shown that China has deployed surface-to-air missiles on the disputed island in South China Sea, a situation which the country believes can worsen tension between rival countries. Meanwhile, ahead of high-level talks, China has warned Australia to be fair in judging its activities in the disputed sea. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, Nta News.
On the sports scene, Federations Cup champions beat league champions in season opener at Abuja National Stadium this evening as Kenya's athletics chief offers to step aside following bribery allegations. Here is Amanzi Marcus with the details.
Aqua United Football Club of Uyo proved the better team Wednesday in the Charity Cup match usually played to herald the beginning of the annual football season. A goalless 90 minutes paved way for penalties to separate the two at the Abuja National Stadium, with Aqua United winning 5-3.
Theophilus Afelakai loses it, and Aqua United are now the champions.
The 2015-2016 MPFL season kicks off this weekend with the usual 20 teams nationwide. About 1,000 match commissioners are attending a 3-day seminar in Abuja aimed at a better 2015-2016 football season. Chairman of the Match Commissioners Appointments Committee, Baba Ganakali, said since the season kicks off this weekend, the match commissioners must take advantage of the seminar to improve on their duties as general overseers in every game.
The match commissioner, therefore, must be a man of integrity and great honor.
There are indications that the number of match commissioners for the season will be reduced in all the 4 tiers of Nigeria's domestic football league to ensure only the good ones are retained. The coach that took the Chipolopolo of Zambia to win the AFCON title in 2012 and repeat same feat with the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire in 2015 has been appointed coach of the Atlas Lions of Morocco. The Moroccan FA said Hervé Renard, who was sacked as Lille FC of France coach in November 2015, after being in charge for about 7 months, has signed a 3-year contract. The wildfire of doping sweeping across several sports is claiming more victims as Kenya's athletics chief Isaac Mwangi has offered to step down for 21 days to allow for investigations into allegations that he collected bribes from athletes to reduce their doping bans. The East African country dominates in long-distance running, but since 2011, 40 of Kenya's athletes have failed drug tests. 3 senior officials of Athletics Kenya were suspended by the IAAF in 2015, but all have denied any wrongdoing. With Sports News Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
Funeral rites have been announced for the late Thaddeus Bodi Ewalefo, who died on the 21st of January 2016. Thursday, the 18th of February, a vigil mass will be held at his family compound, A9 Uzebu Quarters, Igweben, Edo State. Funeral mass is at 10 o'clock in the morning at St. Joseph's Catholic Church, Igweben, on Friday. Interment follows immediately. The late Thaddeus Bodi Ewalefo was a former staff of the Nigerian Television Authority, a Knight of the Order of St. Mulumba, and Ogidi Gon I of Igweben. He is survived by his wife, Marcella, 4 children, his aged mother, brothers and sisters. Among them is Wilfred Ewalefo, General Manager, NTA News 24, Abuja. And time for a check on the weather picture across the country.
We're glad to have you join us on the weather segment. As the moist and warm southwesterly winds continue to make their way into the country as far as the central cities, the southern half of the country would have intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions in the morning to increased cloudiness in the evening, with prospects for isolated showers around Lagos, Oshogbo, Akure, and Port Harcourt axis. As for the north, expect sunny and hazy conditions. Well, let me take you through temperatures for the day.